Yes! I finally made it! I'm finally getting the Prince of Stride review out. It only took a month. Oh god, what a crazy month. But here we are. Granted, I'm re-recording the audio as, well, I finally got the Windows 10 upgrade on my computer, and it kind of killed all my files and documents and stuff. So, I've just decided to re-record this. Also, you never know, your thoughts change after a little while, and since I don't go on a script, I just make all this shit up as I go, if you couldn't tell. We'll just see what I think by the end of this. So, let's just get right into it. Prince of Stride is one of the most well-known animes coming out of the 2016 winter season. Why is it the most well-known? Actually, because nobody liked it, or not a lot of people enjoyed it. And this was actually a shock to me because I actually enjoyed it. That's right, I liked Prince of Stride. I thought it was fun, entertaining, enjoyable. I don't know what everyone was talking about, but when the season was over, that was top in a lot of people's worst list, and it actually kind of shocked me. But that's what we're here today. We're here to talk about this series, figure out what went wrong for people, what I liked and what I didn't, and where you all stand in it, because hey, it's all subjective and every opinion counts. So let's start off with the plot. Prince of Stride follows Honen Academy Stride people. Stride is a fictional sport they made up that is basically a parkour relay race where the runners have to go through different traps and hurdles and gimmicks and stuff in order to pass on to the next person, who will go on to the next person, so on and so forth, until Man 5 wins the race and hopefully wins it for the school, along with a sixth member of the team who basically relays them, strategizes, and tells them when to run, where to go, which direction to take, who's next, all that good stuff. I believe this is a DS game that doesn't have a US release, and that's basically where I got the idea from, is that in the game you play as the relayer, I think it's called, and that's sort of where the series picks up. It just follows these students. Now, I'm going to make something very clear. I don't really watch sports anime. In fact, I think this might be the first sports anime I've ever watched to its completion. Why? Well, I really don't like sports that much. I watch a little baseball, I support my New York Mets, all that good stuff, but for the most part, sports just doesn't interest me, as I'm kind of bad at most physical activities. But the thing is, this series intrigued me. Why? Well, among other things, it's done by Madhouse, so you know it's going to look great. But on top of that, I kind of wanted to watch something different, and the sport that they actually partake in sounded interesting, so I gave it a shot and came out pretty happy. And a lot of that has to do with our characters. This is a very likable cast of the 6 Striders themselves, or I guess that's what you call it. I guess runners, I don't know. But the thing is that each of these characters is likable, they're funny, the designs grow on you after a while, they all get their shots of drama, you always find them relatable, they're always nice. Yeah, they're pretty basic, but it worked in something like this. You always bought what was going on, everyone has great chemistry in this, and I thought that they all in all did a very good job of moving the show along and keeping everything going at a pretty consistent pace. And as for everything else that really matters for a sports anime, well, the Stride stuff is really cool. Again, like I said, this is Madhouse, people. You know it's gonna be amazing. And again, maybe this isn't their greatest looking show ever, but it does look very interesting. The animation style fascinates me. It's very bright colors. Even black in this show is very light. And it's a very interesting animation style, and I'm not gonna lie, it takes an episode or two to get used to it, as it means that the character designs don't have a lot of detail in it, and it's sort of hard to tell what time of day it is in this show, but it does grow on you because it gives you this very nice spring and summer aesthetic, which is almost kind of ironic that this thing came out in winter. But the thing is, I actually really enjoyed that about this show because, again, it kind of gets you in the mood for spring. I remember watching the first episode, which is just the typical first day of high school, and you see all the trees and all the plants and the bright sun. It actually got me wanting to go outside. I didn't, because I think it was like 20 degrees that day, but it did a good job of getting me pumped up and putting me in a physical mood. It set the mood and the mode right so that way you felt you were in this world and in this show, which is good because the show takes place over the course of spring and summer, so it serves its purpose just fine. The designs themselves, like I said, they take a little while to get used to, but I did enjoy them. Nothing great, nothing terrible, but for what it is, it's fine. Then there's the actual running itself. Awesome. Again, don't know a lot about sports anime. Don't know if this counts as good sports anime animation, but I dug it. I love all the different hurdles, all the different tricks. I love the way they show the running. I love the sound choreography in this. There's all these cool takeoff sounds that get you pumped and ready for it. There's a lot of good work on the sound editing to make a lot of the hurdles and stuff feel real. There's a lot of moments watching the races in the show where I got exhausted just watching it. To me, to put you into that is really hard to do, and the show really excels at that. And because of this, it made a lot of it very enjoyable. So the thing is, after saying all this and experiencing this and enjoying all this show, what was the problem? Why did everyone get so much hatred towards it? Well, I think I might know why. Well, first up, One Punch Man was Madhouse's last show, and that show was so insane and amazing, I don't think they were going to top it. This show does have the guiltiness of coming right after. The second thing, and this is where the actual problems begin, the show is very by the numbers. I kind of knew where it was going from episode 1 and was never really that surprised. There's one or two twists, but they're never big enough to really make me feel like I was thrown for a loop. I don't watch a lot of sports anime, but I'm not ignorant to the formula it follows. You have all the traditional tropes, the musclehead protagonist, the cute girl who needs to come into her own, the older smart one, the kind of pretty boy one, the Poindexter. All of these things are here. And honestly, if you've seen a lot of it before, you might get incredibly bored by them. Again, I liked them, but I could see why other people could bother them. On top of that, a lot of people actually didn't like the animation for this. They found it too flat and too distracting. And if that's your complaint, yeah, I really can't argue with that. That's the way you visually interpreted something. And on top of that, and this is going to get into not a lot of spoiler territory, but I think I have to, around the episode 9 mark, when the show started wrapping up, it kind of unraveled a bit. Among other things, the tough, brooding character has a backstory reveal that ultimately meant nothing. And they were playing it up like it was the big revelation for him, but it was relevant for 10 seconds. It didn't do anything. It had nothing to do with the plot. On top of that, I really wish the relayer herself, the girl, was the main character to this, because that's what the game is about, and I found her role on the team very interesting, and the concept of her having to, make sure that they don't hit each other, that they get off at the right mark. Essentially, she's controlling the whole thing, and I thought the show would have been more interesting if it was just about her. On top of that, her drama, though relatable, never plays into anything. Basically, they bring up this very interesting, again, generic, but still interesting for the character, plot point and concept towards the end. It never is, it's brought up once and then never again. And I don't really know where it was going. And it looked like it was going to also have a villain through this plot line, but that never went anywhere. And on top of that, the worst and the biggest offender is our main character. Like I said, he's just the generic kind of guy for this sort of show. He's not bad, he has his likable moments, but when they get into his drama and his backstory, it makes no sense. It doesn't work, it doesn't make him more relatable. If anything, it kind of just made him almost into kind of a douche, which made it really awkward because they still tried to make him funny and likable, but he just made no sense. And on top of that, it's never resolved. Hell, the final episode, we barely see our final race, our big final battle. It's just sort of in the background, and what's in the forefront never gets resolved. It's very poorly put together. It's very poorly paced. If I were to take a guess, the show was probably put together at the last minute, and they weren't entirely sure what they wanted to do with everyone's arcs. What was going to be in the forefront? What was going to be more relevant? What was going to do this? What was going to do that? And I also have a feeling the budget might have ran out too, as apparently this is just what I hear, One Punch Man Season 2 is gearing up for production, and it's kind of forcing Madhouse to reestablish their schedule for the year. So if that's the case, I understand, but it leaves us with what's in front of this, and it leaves us with a very entertaining and fun show to the right audience, but for a lot of people, just something that didn't work, and even I have to admit, is a bit of a mess. But is it entertaining? I think so. I think it's worth checking out. I think it's very entertaining, especially now we're getting right into summer, into the warmer weather. I think you could really get into it. I didn't watch the dub, but I heard general consensus was fine. The subtitles very good, acting's fine. So in all, I say check it out. Give it a shot for yourself. Who knows what side you'll be on. But that's all for that. And as always, click to like but what did you think of Prince of Stride? Sorry, I forgot about that. Whatever you thought, tell me in the comment section below. And as always, click to like and click to subscribe so that way we can see what's going on in the next season.